Cool, everybody. Guess what? We're back again here on Kinda Creepy. I'm Jason Emmett.
And I'm Twisted Kid Matt.
All right, so we're going to do things slightly different, like moving forward, sort of. I mean, we're going to do the same stuff, but a little different. We're going to do some focus. We've been talking about this for a few weeks, where we want to focus on some specific cases and like hauntings and different types of investigations that have happened over the years. But today, we kind of talked about that we were going to be doing this one. We want to go over a few very specific, like Bigfoot videos, some of the bigger ones, and we'll probably do a couple of these. One of them we've talked about before. Oh, I think we did a mini episode on it, right? Like on the July 4th one. I don't think we did a full. But I kind of wanted to go over some stuff with you guys and like really hit on a few things. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to open with like kind of the history of Bigfoot. And I know that sounds weird, but give me just a second and it will make sense. So Bigfoot, or Sasquatch as a lot of us call it. So the name Sasquatch actually comes from the Salish. I apologize if I'm saying that wrong, but it's something like that.
Salish.
Pronunciation, but I might be wrong. Anyway, they were First Nations people. It was popularized by Canadian journalist J.W. Burns, who actually wrote about it in the 1920s. So Sasquatch is actually an I can't say this. Anglicization? You say it.
Anglican?
Yeah, but it's like
Anglicization?
Thank you. That doesn't sound right, does it? That doesn't sound like a word.
Not really, but that's probably what it is.
It's an Americanized...
the whitening. Yeah. The whitening of a phrase or terminology to make it easier for us white folks to say it.
It is and
we still butcher it.
Sasquatch is a white European version of the word Sasquatches, which means wild man or hairy man. There you go. So,
okay.
The Lumi people of the Pacific Northwest spoke of, and I'm going to do my best. Tessa was. You can laugh all you want, but it's T.S. E.M.E.K.W.E.S.
We'll put it on screen right over there.
Tessamequas, I think probably is right. Tessamequas. Anyway, they were a race of hairy giants that dwell in the mountains and forests that whistle hypnotic tune to lure travelers off their path. The Shoshone talked about Seatulk. Anyway, they were a powerful creature that roams the high desert. The Yakama tell stories of the Kulaimi, which means a hairy giant. The Suquamish tell stories of wild men that break into villages, steal fish, but also leave gifts of deer meat. The
fair trade, I guess.
Well, we've actually talked about. There have been stories about people who've said like they would come down and leave. We'd find deer and stuff all the time, or they'd come down and take the deer. The Yokut of California have Mayakadatat, or hairy man. The Hoopa have Oma. The Chickasaw have Lofa. The Choctaw have Champe. There are over 50 documented names for Bigfoot-like creatures in Native American traditions. To me, that's huge, right? This is before we ever came along, right? So one of the earliest documented accounts of by European settlers comes from journalist David Thompson, a British-Canadian fur trader and explorer who traveled throughout the Pacific Northwest in the early 1800s. In 1811, while camping near the Spokane River, what today would be considered Washington State, he recorded an encounter with a group of hairy giants he described as not quite human. He said they were over 7 feet tall, long black hair covering their whole bodies and most of their faces. And he said they communicated with a kind of whistle, which is not uncommon to hear about. He said they weren't afraid of humans at all. And the guides told him they were Sasquatch, a race of wild men that lived in the mountains and forests. In 1840, a missionary named, this guy's name is even weirder than some of those pronounced, Elkanah Walker. He recorded stories of giants and hairy men among the native people of the Spokane area as well. In 1947, a group of miners, this one's interesting, a group of miners in California's Sierra Nevada mountains said they were attacked by gorilla-like wild men who threw rocks at their cabin and tried to break the door down. Does that sound familiar?
It sounds like Ape Canyon.
Like Ape Canyon, which actually happened in 1924, much later, but sounds a lot like the Ape Canyon story, which we've talked about. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting. The first thing we're going to do here, and Matt's been showing some photos on the screen of like cave drawings. This is actually a stone carving that was found by Native Americans. The next one is really interesting because it is stone carvings. It looks a lot like plaster cast, but this is stone carvings.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So full disclosure, I put this in without knowing the context of some of these.
You just thought it was
I thought these were plaster casts.
No, this is actually stone carvings that have been found. So I thought it might be interesting to go briefly into the earliest like photo evidence has ever been presented as Bigfoot. This is actually from 1894. You'll see the photo. You'll see the photo there, and we're going to get into it in a second. But I want to give you the story first. 1894, in the wilds of Western Canada, there's a group of trappers, and they encounter a large hairy man-like creature, and they actually shoot it. A few pictures were taken. Now, this would have been using plate technology at the time. Now, there are a lot of people who claim that this looks like a dog or some other creature, but what throws me are the back legs. I see where they see dog at the front, but if it is a Sasquatch, the arms would be much longer, but that's definitely not a canine hindquarters. Definitely not. We also have a lot of evidence to suggest that this is a real, genuine photo from the time. A lot of people have looked into this. It's not believed to be a faked photo like years later or anything like that. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to tell you what we know about this.
Well, real quick before you get into that. So when I loaded this in, I was looking at the tree line. I didn't realize that what you were talking about
literally laying right in front.
Laying directly in the front. Yep. Okay. So
the thing on the ground
changes everything about what I was thinking.
Yep.
So.
The thing on the ground is what they took to pick. And again, guys, you got to remember
that was just like a bare area of the ground.
We're looking at 1894. So you're looking at, this is pretty good photo quality for 1894. This is like plate technology. This isn't, they don't, So what's most interesting is the text on the back of this, which has been broken down by people, and it actually says a lot about what's going on here. Now, it is very hard to read, but don't worry, people have gone through and figured out what it said. So I'm going to tell you what it says. It reads, year 1894, Yellowcombe River around Lillooet, BC. And then it says Forestry Hudson Bay Company. They took the picture, and a guy that was in the picture went and stole them back from the forestry records, Hudson Bay Company. I believe his name was Holiday. Don't know the first name. Never took all pictures, only one, and took pictures of the rest. So what people believe this means is that these men were working for the Hudson Bay Company, which was Canada's earliest trading company. Now, at the time, the Hudson Bay Company was the sort of de facto government in a large part of North America before the United States was actually able to lay claim to this domain. So it's weird to think, but at the time, a trading company was basically the government here. The message sort of suggests that the Hudson Bay Company took the photos from these men, and a guy named Holiday went to the forestry records of the Hudson Bay Company and stole back one of the photos that was taken. It suggests that there were several. They took them, he went and stole one back. And it might make sense that they would want to try and cover up these creatures because they were trying to colonize this area, and they didn't want people to freak out. So you can make of it what you will. Like I said, it does. I mean, a lot of people think it looks like a dog. To me, I don't see canine in the back legs. What I see is a long set of arms and the way it's positioned makes people think it looks. But if it was just dropped on the ground and it's just kind of flopped its arms over, I don't know, man. It's to think that this was, again, 1894. It's probably not a fake. Why these guys aren't thinking of stuff like that? You're not getting fame and fortune. There's no social media, At best, you might get this printed in something, and that's not going to make you,
The only wall they're putting it up on is one in their house, not a Facebook wall.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be cool to kind of talk about that, and I really wanted to mention the fact that there are a number of countries across multiple continents that all have legends of some type of Bigfoot or primitive type creature. There's the Yeti in Asia. We know a lot about the Yeti. There is the Yeren in China, the Orang Pendek in Sumatra, Mapinguari in South America, the Almas in Mongolia. Even Australia has the Yowie. And that's, you be considering that Australia is its own continent that has weird creatures that no one else has. They have the Yowie. Kenya, Mexico, Nicaragua, Japan, Malaysia, they all have like stories of similar type creatures. I will say, like, the Orang Pendek is supposed to be like a smaller, shorter version. We've heard that in continent, but they are all supposed to be primitive, hairy, man-like. They're not quite, gorilla or orangutan. They're not quite primate, but they're definitely not fully human. So we've been hearing about this forever. Anyway, all this was to say is that Bigfoot is not a new thing. And if so many different people have witnessed this creature, and the likelihood that all of them are wrong, that's just minuscule. It's the same thing as when we talk about UFOs. We don't necessarily know what a UFO is, but if so many people have seen them, there's something, right?
Yeah.
That's why they're unidentified. We don't really know. We talk about a lot about all the evidence is blurry, right? How come it's always blurry? Or we don't have enough details on things, or there weren't enough witnesses. So that was kind of the thought about today's. We're going to give you some clearer stuff, or we're going to give you all the details we have on things. So that was kind of what we wanted to do. So we picked four.
Yeah.
We picked four that have a lot of details.
Yeah. Now, real quick, I'm going to jump in and say this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch over to a different screen, and we'll put up on screen the facts as we know them about each video before we play the video. So we're going to go into that, and then we will play the video for you and kind of talk about it from there. So if you want to go ahead, we can go ahead and start doing that.
So we have a few fun pieces, very famous Bigfoot evidence to go over today. You might know some of these. You guys probably have heard or seen some of these. These are considered some of the best Bigfoot evidence around. But we're going to give you as many details as we can, like Matt said, and we're going to try to kind of put them up on the screen. The first one we're going to look at today is... I've actually known this one for a long time. I think we talked about it. And you at first, when I mentioned it, you were like, "Oh, I think I know that one too." And it turns out you did. This one's real famous. It's known as the Memorial Day Ridge Walker clip. For this one, we have to jump way back to 1996. It's actually May 26th, 1996 to be exact. And we even know what time. It was around 6 p.m. thereabouts, somewhere in there. We know it was Memorial Day weekend. There's a family camping at the Okanagan. I can't say this either. Okanagan County, in Okanagan County, Washington,
which has its own other cryptid as well, with Ogopogo.
What is Ogopogo? That makes sense.
Ogopogo's from Okanagan Lake. Yeah.
So Pay Satan Wilderness area, a little less than 6 miles from the Canadian border. Right. We have so many details on this. There were 7 people in the party, in this particular party. And there was an estimated 90 to 100 people camping up and down the river. According to one of the witnesses, a friend was playing with her son. She yells out for them to come over. She starts screaming, "Everybody come over here, come over here." They get over there, and she claims she had just seen what she thought was a Bigfoot up on the hill. Now, she points up on the hill, right? And she was telling them all about it when suddenly it stands up from behind a bush. The creature they say they saw was approximately 75 yards away, and it darted into the woods. Now, one of the campers had their 8mm camcorder at the time, and they told her start filming. Right now, at this point, it already ran into the woods, but they told her start filming, and they had her scanning the area. 2 to 3 minutes later, it actually appears again. This time about 100 yards up the hill, and it proceeds to run across the hillside. Now, this is very rugged terrain, right? But it's running. It's booking it. It jumps a ravine and then runs across the hillside. It jumps a ravine and continues behind a knoll where it started walking, and so they say as it approached the tree line, its upper body comes back into view. the people who filmed this, actually, the guy was, I think, like 6 foot something tall. He goes up there. I don't have this footage, but they filmed him trying to recreate this whole run. And they're like, I mean, he could kind of do it. He was much slower because he didn't know the terrain. And he just couldn't get the same stride. So you see it walking there. So that's what they're saying. It starts off running. They estimate that this run is about 125 feet, that it clears the run in about 9 steps.
God. Okay, now, full disclosure, Jay and I were talking about this video a while back, in preparation for the show. And as he's telling me the facts of this, I get up from the couch, I go outside with a tape measure, and I measure out
2, 3,
the approximate, 4, I think you said it was like 5, 5.5 feet.
9, there it is.
Yeah. You said like the gate on this thing was about 5 to 5.5 feet. They kind of figured out. I think it was this video you were talking about.
I don't know if it was this one where it was that, but it's still relevant to what we're going to talk about, what Matt is about to say. Yeah.
So last I checked, I'm like 5'10". I'm not a small guy, but I'm also not like the tallest. I take fairly big steps sometimes when I'm walking. I tried to make my stride 5 to 5.5 feet, and I was in pain, like serious pain, not feeling great.
Oh, hold on. Let me cut you off real quick. Okay. So they used, because I got it right here, they used terrain mapping to figure out the area. Okay. That is 120 feet. It clears that, like I said, the run part in 9 steps. That would be a stride averaging over 13 feet.
Jeez.
So it's been estimated that this thing would stand around 9 feet tall. And what Matt's saying is they've estimated then that the walking stride would be about 5 to 5.5 feet. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes more sense. Yeah. But yeah, like even just walking the 5 feet, 1 foot in front of the other, it was putting a lot of strain on my hips.
Did you even make a 5 foot stride? I thought when you did like your...
No, I think the max was about 3.25. Yeah. I think was like before it started really hurting. I think I got 4 and it was painful. But yeah, I actually tested this out in my sidewalk.
We were joking, like
my neighbors watching me on Ring camera footage, just
but as I
walking
said,
like
your
an idiot
neighbors
up
are
and down on the sidewalk. Yeah, they've seen some weird stuff in the past, but yeah, testing this out like just at a leisurely pace was painful. So I could imagine trying to run, and first of all, I'm not a runner at all, but making that distance with that few of steps, you would have to be really hauling it and also have really long legs to be able to make that. So I'm buying everything they're saying, like, and not only that, you'd have to think about, is this somebody in a costume trying to make that run?
Well, that's what I mean. The guy went up there and tried to recreate the run portion of it. He was over 6. I think he was like, I think he was like 6'2" or 6'3" or something like that.
Yeah, I think we were joking about it on the phone. It was just like, you'd have to be Usain Bolt, to do that. Like you would have to be,
and you would have to know that you're not running on a track.
Yeah, you'd have to know the area. You'd have to be able to do it in a costume. If all this was fake, which leads me to believe that, and not only that, but 96, they can barely even zoom properly on this thing.
Right.
So let alone try to, do any kind of fakery.
What makes this so interesting though, is the story. It's like, remember, this is 2 or 3 minutes after the first sighting. When it comes back out, there's a reason it runs. Like it needs to be on the other side. That's what I think happened. Yeah. Like whatever, somebody noticed it, so it hid, but it needs to be on the other side. So this thing's like, okay, I'm going to run to get over there because there's people down there looking at me. And like I said,
it just wants to get out of the area.
They use scientific terrain mapping. That's how they estimate the 120 feet. So even if they're off a little bit and it's not a 9-foot stride, even at an 8-foot stride, most people just could not pull that off. Here's the other cool part about this. I told you there were 90 to 100 people camping up and down the riverbank. It's estimated that another 25 to 30 people actually saw this. What we can't see is there's like a lake or a river over here, and there were people. They said there were people out on boats pointing, like other people witnessed this thing happening. There were a ton of eyewitnesses to it. So,
which means in theory there may even be more cameras out on, even if it's just like still photos.
Well, again, keep in mind it is 98, and so it wasn't like people were pulling out their 96. I'm like, people weren't pulling out their cell phones.
True.
These guys weren't filming like that.
It'd be an actual like Polaroid or something.
There was a whole encounter before this footage that just nobody got to see. The last thing I kind of want to mention on this one before we move on is the fact that while you do see LO Pate at the bottom, they ended up, I think, having to copyright it because of so many issues. But they never took, from what I gather, this was on TV show. That's the first time I saw this was on a TV show back in the day.
Yeah.
They never took any royalties off of this video. And they also never gave their full name. So they never wanted to make money off this, which I think is, again, telling. So I don't know. This was one of those, so the first time I saw it, I remember, now when I saw it on the TV program, we did watch a guy try to run the same thing. There is video of a guy trying to run this out there. I didn't have it. And you'll see it, he just can't pull it off. So it's, to me, it's a very telling, very impressive piece of footage.
Yeah. And here we are almost 30 years later, and it still holds water, basically. Like, this looks
funny that you should mention water.
Oh, unintentional, but yeah.
Because our next clip, actually takes place in the water. So we've watched all these. You've watched all these. I've watched all these. This is the one that I have the hardest time with. This one's fairly recent too. I think 2021. I think is when this one comes from. But this is the one I have the hardest time with, and I'll explain why. It's not that I think it's a fake video. It's just I don't know. So this one takes place in Michigan, July of 2021. There's a guy who we know goes by the name of Eddie. Eddie got in touch with the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization. He tells them, hey, look, my cousin, it wasn't even me. My cousin was kayaking on the Cass River a few days before. So we don't know the exact day. We think it was somewhere around July 19th, July 18th. That's all we really know. He says he has I don't know if he has like a GoPro or what, but he has an action camera because he's kayaking. And he says he's coming around this bend and he caught something on the camera, and I'm guessing that the cousin didn't really want to do anything about it, but Eddie sees it and he's like, hey, we gotta let somebody know. The video was taken near the M46 bridge. This is other sightings have happened very close to this bridge in Michigan. The video shows what looks like a large red-haired creature crossing the river. It also appears to be carrying something. A lot of people believe it's an infant. A lot of people think it might be like a deer or animal carcass. This was filmed from quite a distance, but it is 2021, so the camera is a lot more clear. The video footage has been analyzed. It is not believed to have been tampered with. The last thing I will say about this is it is not very long because he was not expecting it. So it's not like...
Yeah.
So I kind of you'll see we stop and zoom in a little bit there because people think he's holding something. I don't see holding anything. I see an arm up, but I can't tell that there's anything in that arm. Do you?
I think it might be kind of thrown over his shoulder.
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So this is the one where I don't know, man. I have a lot of thoughts. Why would somebody be I don't think the kayaker dude is making this up at all. I think he really was kayaking. Came, oh, look at that. Like, what is that?
Yeah. What the hell is that? Yeah. Who or what is walking across the river right now?
But as they kind of go tighter, it doesn't look like hair to me.
Yeah.
I see what they think is thrown over the shoulder now.
Yeah. Almost has coloration wise German Shepherd.
I was gonna say it almost looks like a dog to me.
Yeah.
It's
the dog from the gate. to go back to an older show that we did. You know,
the head
how's the dog doing?
The head looks a little Sasquatchian, but the body doesn't, like, it's hard to tell.
Sylvanic.
It doesn't look like fur to me, but I don't know.
Yeah. Now with this one, I mean, like, of the clips that we have for today, I will say this one gives me the most pause and all that. And it's exactly what you're saying. It doesn't look like hair to me, but maybe it's just wet and smoothed down.
Okay,
it doesn't seem to be
point.
as like wild and just kind of everywhere. It is walking in the water, but it also, in a way, kind of looks like somebody who might be wearing like hip waders and a jacket over the top of it.
The problem with that is the color is so uniform. So that would mean the hip waders, the jacket, and whatever they have over their head, is all the same color. Yeah. Also, it moves that very typical, like, hunched over, like right there.
Could you imagine this is just somebody who's like out in the woods hunting and like they're just carrying their dog across the river because they don't want it to, you know, be in the water, and some kayaker films them and it's just like, it's a Bigfoot, and it's like, dude, I'm just trying to get back across the river.
Honestly,
like, no, man, you're a Bigfoot. I'm not a Bigfoot.
Look at my watch. It looks
I'm
like
talking to you. I'm not a Bigfoot.
I'll be honest, Matt. I would agree with you, like Carhartt jacket and hip waders, if it weren't for the head being almost the exact same color.
It could be. Wait, what date did you say this was? You said it was July?
July of 2021. Yeah.
Okay. And where again?
Michigan.
What? Michigan? July in Michigan is going to be pretty hot, if I remember right. I've been to Michigan in about that time period. I believe it was summer.
Full year, like,
why would you be wearing anything?
I don't know.
Warm in there. So
I don't believe July is hunting season, but I could be wrong. I'm not a big hunter. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and we know you will. But hey, leave it in the comments.
You know, when we do the zoom in and I look at the upper part of the leg that's out of the shadow, I kind of see it could be fur. Like, it's just, like you said, maybe it's just slicked back because it's the water. I don't know. Yeah. This is one that, out of all the videos, like Matt said, this is the one I paused the most on and go, is it, isn't it? We really welcome your guys' thoughts. And if you know any more about this, is also the one we have the least amount of information on.
True. And like I said, I'm just trying to play Jersey Devil's advocate. And since I made the graphic already, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back in there.
I like it.
It's pretty fun. So yeah, that's my take on it. Is it's the least amount of information, and of the videos that we have, with it being the least amount of information, it's also, to me, the least convincing that it's an actual Bigfoot. Maybe somebody just mistook something or somebody else for.
But I will say this: I do not believe. I believe that the guy, whoever filmed this, legitimately came across this. This was not them faking it. They didn't. Yeah. They put it right out in front, and it's not very long. So it would have been a lot to put together to fake for a 40. I think the full video is less than like 40 seconds long or something like that. So it's really what. I don't know. It's an interesting one, to say the least, but it does add credence to the fact that it's very close to an area where there have been several Sasquatch sightings over the years. That does lead, a lot to it. So, yeah. So now we're going to go into one that, like I said, we did a mini episode on. This one was almost like, this is one of those, it's so clear, it's almost too good to be true kind of situations. Yeah. That's what makes it so appealing. And we talked about it before, but I have information on it. I don't think we gave a lot of that info. So we're going to go to 2011 for this one. It is a higher definition camera, but it's probably not 4K. It's probably like 1080, but it is a higher definition. This is July the 4th. So this one has become known as the Independence Day Bigfoot. Like I said, we did talk about this one. This took place, again, in Washington, near a place called Sherman Pass. So Sherman Pass, Washington. According to reports, this was someone out solo hiking in the woods for the holiday weekend. They're out in the woods. They're hiking. The area looks like an area where people would hike. He ends up capturing one of the clearest pieces of video ever. The clip has been, I want to put all this out there. The clip has been analyzed dozens of times. I've actually read it's one of the most analyzed pieces of video footage in the crypto world. This was an unobstructed shot. There are no trees or bushes like blocking the front of his view. It does go behind a rock. But a lot of times we'll see things through the trees or whatnot. None of that's going on. Broad daylight. The raw video was actually given to and analyzed by Colorado State University, determined that the video file had not been altered in any way, meaning there were no filters added, no effects were added. What we see is what was filmed. Now, that doesn't mean there's not a person in a costume. Obviously, that anything that was faked would have had to have been done practical in front of the camera. There's nothing added or changed later. They're also, and I don't think this video has audio. Yeah, I think it does have audio, but I couldn't really hear it. But they say there is a vocal call in the video that wildlife experts have listened to. They were unable to link it to any known local animal. This video has also been broken down frame by frame. It was determined that the shoulder width is larger than humans, and also the gait, the stride, is longer than humans, which helps discredit like that the shoulders were padded or bulked up in any way, because it would be harder to move as fluid as this thing moves. So I don't know, because you're going to see on the video, it moves really unencumbered. It moves right across the scene. So yeah, what we see is it's going to come out and it's going to duck behind a rock, and then it comes back up appearing to be carrying something that, if a puppet, it's moving on its own. The head, it's like carrying an infant, and the head and everything. This is something you and I talked about a lot the first time we watched it, is the movement of the thing that it is carrying. And there, now you see it has something. And we see, here's what's very key. We see its right arm like cradle the head. So it carrying with the left arm. So, you see those puppets that people, now it could be, people have those fake arms and then they'll have one arm up inside of it. We know it's not its right arm. And it is like, see, look how clear that is, man. We see facial, like the face area without fur.
The brow, everything. Yeah.
And now you see it's cradling this.
It looks directly at the camera.
And the thing it's cradling is moving. Yeah, it looks multiple times. Like it's checking the camera. Like the whole time.
Got that big old dump truck butt, too.
Which looks a lot like Patty.
Yep.
But,
which, again, this would be theoretically a female Sasquatch.
Look at that, man.
Picking up a baby to get it out of danger, of a perceived danger of being, filmed. Because what happens if it doesn't pick up the baby and it goes walking off and the guy filming goes around that boulder and discovers a baby Sasquatch?
It seems like that would be bad for everybody involved.
It'd be really bad for everybody involved. Like, just, you always hear about like never get between a mama bear and its cub. Could you imagine getting between a mama Bigfoot and its cub?
Yeah, something,
whatever they would call it. Like you would be ripped to pieces, theoretically. Or just getting backhanded by a Bigfoot would be awful. just think about that. Like,
it probably wouldn't be great. So I want to point out like a bunch of stuff here, because this thing is just incredible. Again, if this was a padded suit, so we know that according to the University of Colorado, we know that the shoulder width, all of that, and look how it moves. The arms, the movement. We know it can't. The chances that it is a bulked up suit with how fluid this thing moves is almost impossible. That face looks directly at the camera, like Matt said several times. It watches the camera. It is definitely checking out the camera. Look, we see both arms holding this thing. That's not a puppet.
Yeah.
So say this,
and the head on it turns.
Yeah.
Of the smaller of the two.
Yeah. And it leans back, and it doesn't do it in a wobbly way like a fake thing.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at that. This thing looks right at the camera. Matt pointed that out. So say you're this Mama Sasquatch, you're out, you know, the baby's sitting there, you walk over to grab some berries or something. You're not, you know, trying to be, and all of a sudden, oh crap, there's a person. I like how hesitant it is. Even as
it's like, do I go now or do I just stay here and hope he leaves? He's not leaving. Gotta go.
But the whole time it watches him.
Yeah.
Is he advancing on me? Do we need to? They're not known for being.
Do
aggressive.
I need to put you back down and come at you?
Yeah. But like Matt said, get in between a mama bear and watch what happens. And I think this thing just wants to get away. Like, I don't want any harm to come to my baby. What makes this video so amazing to me, again, is the fluid movement and the fact that this thing looks at the camera several times. Like, we see its face. Like, these are things I think and again, broad daylight right out in front. There's not a lot of trees and stuff in our view.
Yeah. And you can go back and watch I think it was a mini episode that we did on this one. We mentioned it there. It turns and looks as it's walking. It knows the area well enough to know it's not about to trip. So, and we touched on that in the video. If this was a person in a suit, they would theoretically be looking forward, possibly even looking down at the ground, trying not to trip over like a fallen tree branch or a rock or just a... Man, if you knew how many times I walked in my own backyard and almost broke my ankle because a damn rabbit hole was in the backyard.
Me and stairs don't get along. I leaned back and fell on the last stair today and bumped my ass, and it hurt like hell.
Today?
Yeah, this morning. A couple weeks ago, it's been longer than that. A couple months ago, I fell down. I missed one step and I practically almost broke my ankle.
Oh God, that's the worst.
I want to point this out.
As long as you were in your own house and nobody could really laugh at you, but
also they were there. I was screaming and I was yelling cuss words, and I want to point this out, especially on the close-up, because this to me is really interesting. So it picks the baby up, stands up. The baby starts off cradled real close to its chest, and then does what I've seen babies do numerous times. It leans back to try to kind of look what's going around. Yep. Very telling to me. Also, the baby's fur is lighter.
Yeah.
Which, if you're building costumes and puppets, like, how many people are going to think to do that? Let's make it it won't look at here, but it will a little bit. But on the close-up, you see it. You can kind of tell here. But again, these aren't things that most people think of. Like, the detail you'd have to go into to think these things up is just astounding. So let's watch this one more time in the close-up. And I want you to really notice when it comes up, the baby is cradled close to the chest, and it does exactly what kids do all the time. Also, there is a lack of fur around the face in certain spots, and I think I even see an ear, man. It's crazy. Now watch the baby, and it'll lean back like babies want to do. See? There.
Yep. Like, what's going on? Yeah.
And then it leans to the right, and
it's
and then lighter. Looks. I swear to God, I think the baby turns and looks.
It does kind of look like it turns and looks towards the camera right there. This to me has been one of the most convincing ones that we've ever talked about, and I'm glad we're talking about it again with more information, because like it sold me the first time I watched it, and I don't really think anything's changed on this one. Now, also as it's getting towards the Rock and the baby, not Dwayne.
It doesn't smell what it's cooking.
Yeah. No, it's as it's going towards it, it is kind of like hesitantly walking. But as it's leaving, because it is carrying something, it is a little bit more encumbered than it would be if it wasn't carrying something. So the stride is probably not going to be
indicates weight,
full on like running, like that distance that it's covering. It is just trying to quickly get out of the area, and smaller steps make a little bit more sense than because the last thing it wants to do probably is drop the baby. So it wants to get out of the area. It's going to do that safely by probably taking a little bit smaller steps than normal. So that's what I'm taking away from
knowing this is a solo hiker, and like a lot of times we're like, wouldn't you follow it? Wouldn't you try? And some of them are videos we do. A solo hiker and a creature with a baby. No, I think the hiker's like, one, I'm scared, and two, this thing doesn't. Like, I don't want to follow this thing because I don't like this thing's just trying to get away from me. It doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Very cool video. Yeah.
Now, if you're my wife, she's chasing after it because she's gone on record. If she dies, she at least wants the footage to get out.
Okay.
that this is real. I'll have her come on the show at some point in time and say it for herself. But yeah, she's like, she wants definitive proof.
I get it.
Out there, even if it comes at the expense of her life.
We all do.
At the hands of Sasquatch.
Just not.
I think my wife just wants to die in a Sasquatch attack. I think is what happens.
She doesn't want to hurt Sasquatch. She's willing to die.
She doesn't. She just wants it to be. Yeah. She wants it to be known that these things exist.
Well, yeah.
Even if it has to hurt her in the process.
Okay, so we have one last one to kind of talk about, and this is a longer piece of footage. And I've toned that down, and I will explain all of that in a second. This one's real close to home, a couple hours away from me, and what makes that cool is I've actually been to this park, not in many, many years, but people in the area will know what this park is because it's a pretty famous state park here in the area. I always thought it was a weird name, though. So this is Salt Fork State Park in Ohio. So this comes from 2020. This is January the 12th, 2020. Two men who we know are named Eric and Charles. They're out hiking and filming. This isn't a new thing for Eric and Charles. They've done it several times because this area is known to have Bigfoot. So they go out in the area pretty often. They actually, I know this is in my notes somewhere, but they actually have permission to fly a drone in this area as long as they stay away from things like the lodge and the more public areas, the campgrounds, things like that. So they've actually gotten permission to film out there. They're allowed to be out there. So these guys are out there walking around. They start hearing noises, which we will play, and they then decide they're going to send their drone up and go in the general direction that they think these noises are coming from. The drone flies over for 4 or 5 minutes, and then they see something. We are not going to show you 4 and 5 minutes of drone footage of nothing. We're not going to show you. Now, if you want to go to their channel, you can watch the whole, like he does a lot of just talking and shows them entering the park, all that. We're not going to show any of that because it's not pertinent and it would take up way too much time. And it's still a longer video, even then.
Sorry, we'll put the name of the video on screen right there.
Yeah. So they fly the drone up, 4 or 5 minutes go by. They see something, right? At this point, it starts to kind of snow, sleet a little bit. This is not a waterproof drone. He says that in his video. So he has to land it. But they decide, they do exactly what we just said. Now we're going to walk towards where we think the drone picked it up. And we're going to see if we can see anything. So they do. They walk over there. They actually get quite a bit of footage, right? I have a lot of thoughts on this video. But before I give those thoughts, let's start watching the video. And it starts off very interesting and there is definitely audio in this video. You'll hear them walking around and talking.
Looks like we have a lot of bones.
So this to me is weird. This is Ohio, guys. This isn't like
hair.
There are tons of like deer carcasses and bones here.
Deer?
Yeah.
Several of them.
So what I'm saying is we're not known for mountain lions and it's not. We don't have a lot of that sort of thing, or even bear in most area. We don't have that.
Got coyotes.
So this is the footage they captured by the aerial drone. Okay. Yeah, we do have coyote, but I don't know. It's just a weird sort of hill zone.
Now theoretically, they could have been dragged and left in that area, which is typical of what would happen if there's like a carcass and they would drag it all to one area and leave it there.
There you go. There it was. Well, don't worry. We're going to show it to you again. We're going to point it out.
It appears there's actually two.
Yeah, that's what I only saw the one at first, and then so I was very thankful for the arrows because that helped a lot. So there we go. So again, they see these in the drone. They'd been flying around for 4 or 5 minutes. It wasn't instantaneous. And so they walk to the area. Now what you hear now is the sleet, and instantly we see it. I'll point out my thoughts on some of the things that are said too after. So what you're going to hear is one of the guys is whispering a lot. The other guy is just sort of talking. So we've already seen it if you haven't, but you don't worry, you'll see it a lot more. They film a lot of footage of this thing. There it is. And it's just
Casual stroll.
So some of the stuff they're saying, one of them says something like, I thought they weren't even supposed to be real, kind of joking. And the other guy says it's Ohio Grassman, which is a name for it around here. Now, this is what's interesting. At some point, this thing it knows they're there.
He's right behind that tree.
It hides behind a tree and look, peeks at them.
And his hair's gray and black.
It looks at them and then it like ducks back behind the tree. Very common stuff that we've seen a bunch of times. You know.
Brown and gray. You can't tell.
It's so. Like, I don't know how I would feel in this encounter. Like, they're trying to be... I think they're nervous. And when people are nervous, they tend to say goofy stuff.
Mm-hmm. You've experienced that with me in person before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of this is just the cutaway. I don't really know why they did the cutaways. He kind of narrates over some of the video on their site, so... I also want to point out this was given to the news. This is the news outlets have watched this, have examined this. You know. And Matt and I have talked about it a lot here. Like, if you're going to fake something, you'd think they'd want to show less. This video, they capture a lot. But also, there's like the direct thing of it looking at the camera, and you'd have to be real sure of your costume if you're going to do that sort of stuff. Yeah. Again, this is 2020. Yeah, 2020. Oh, what we do know. This is a GoPro Hero 7 that they filmed this with. That was what was up on the drone. When it is on the drone, he said he did lighten up areas and darken up areas so that it stood out a little more. He said, so just be aware of that he did do that on the drone footage so that it would pop a little more so you could see it. But this was filmed in 4K with a GoPro Hero 7. So that's interesting too. We know the camera that was used on this one. We know the area, the time of year, like the precise area. We know the guys who did it. We know the camera that was used.
I wonder if they were trying to film a footprint there.
I don't know.
Because otherwise, why would they get that close to the grass?
So some of it, I think, is just him putting cutaways instead of transitions. So they were out there. There's actually a bunch of filming stuff while they were out there, like that I cut all of it. It's like, did you hear that?
I had not watched this with the audio up. Okay. I hope it does that again.
I don't know if it does, but we do have at the end of this clip, I'm going to play just the vocalizations of what they heard that caused them to send the drone up in the first place. And it will loop a couple of times just so you get.
That was a little freaky, I'm not going to lie.
So when that happens in the video, I think it happened there. When it does that, we might have talked over it. The one guy says, like, should we even be out here? And the other guy, like, shushes him instantly. Because he says it like, he goes, should we even be out here? You hear this roar, and he's like, should we even be? Like, he's scared instantly. And the other guy's like, shh. Like, dude, stop. You know?
It's like, you're scared. Why are you talking? You're getting tripped if we have to run.
Like I said, this is the edited version of this. It looks like we might be going through it twice on the same footage. So
edited for time.
Yeah, I edited it, and you can go. So here are you can read. There's more. That was recorded on video, but I just put it to the vocalization thing. That's what they heard. So they go from this area down to like these caves, and that's what they heard that caused them to send the drone up. So All right. We'll play like highlights in the background while we're talking of, just the stuff that's most important, I guess. And I'm going to give my thoughts, and then we're going to get Matt's thoughts. So this was given to Ohio University, which is actually not that far from the area. Cartographers used landmarks to measure the creature's stride. This was the one we were talking about, though. It was around 5.5 feet, the stride, just the normal stride. And the arm span of the creature was approximately the same length as its height, they said, which I don't like. I guess in comparison, it's kind of hard for me to. Anyway, none of that is normal to humans. This one also had an audio, like I said, the audio noise captured was also looked over by a team of digital forensic specialists who claim that there were no telltale signs of a costume from what they could analyze in the video. They could not find any zippers or noticeable seams in the video. Again, they have stuff to look over it a lot closer than we do, so just know that. The audio that was captured appears to be genuine. They said nothing makes the audio seem like it was added after the fact. And the video itself has, again, not been digitally altered from the raw footage that was analyzed. Again, filmed on a GoPro Hero 7, filmed in 4K. I kind of mentioned that at first to me, it felt like, I was like, yeah, it sounds a little fake. They're just talking and being goofy. And then it kind of hit me. If we consider that he didn't really think they were going to see anything, and when they do, he probably just thinks it's a person or something at first. And he's like, oh, I didn't even think they were real. Ha ha ha. Like, and then I think it hits the guy filming like, no, shut up, dude. This is real. And I don't know, man. How, to me, that you hear almost like a human quality in it. So it doesn't sound like, again, it doesn't sound like a wolf or a coyote or anything. It's just really creepy. I saw you kind of sit back, and the fact that
which would have probably been my natural reaction if I was in their position and heard it. Like, oh, okay, all right.
That's what I was going to say. That one guy's like, not that one, but the one where they're out there, he says, should we even be here? Like, oh my God. Like, suddenly he takes it real serious, Yeah. Again, these guys have given the footage over. They've handed it over to be analyzed. So that's the stride where I think they were saying about 5.5 foot stride. Again, cartographers somehow used like trees and stuff, and I'm sure there's been some like digital mapping done and stuff of the area. It is a state park, so that's how they do that. So I don't understand all the science behind how those equations are made, but they do it. And again, we see the peaking. Look at that.
Which to me almost looks like, from this angle, it almost looks like it's the back.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to tell,
Yeah.
Like it's leaning down, and we see head movement when it does it. Like it's not very stiff. It's like, back and forth.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is they see what they believe are two. And I'm curious if when they went out to film, do we just pick up one? Do they think they got both on film, or was it just one at all times? It looks like the same one to me. At all, like to me, this looks like the same thing we see a little bit later. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on this one, Matt? I mean, this was.
This one was all new to me when you brought it, for the show.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the longer of the two clips, I didn't watch the entire thing. You had mentioned the vocalizations, and I'm like, when? I apparently had the audio off or turned down, didn't hear it. I barely heard the guys talking. So this is honestly the first I'm actually hearing everything they're saying. If one guy is like, yeah, right, whatever, and then eventually realizes, oh, I should be taking this a little bit more seriously. That kind of, especially after hearing what these things sound like and touching on that. Well, to me, it doesn't sound human. It doesn't sound like you said, any of the known animals in the area. It sounds big.
Have you ever?
It has a very howl, kind of a whoop almost. Just
right.
Now, if they had tree knocking and stuff as well, it would have been like, okay, come on, this is bordering on too much, but also exactly what you hear of encounters like this. You're hearing tree knocking, you're hearing vocalizations, you're hearing footsteps sometimes. I don't think we catch any of that on camera in this, but
he actually says, I know at the beginning,
you know,
he says the leaves rustling and stuff you hear are us walking around. So I don't, what you will hear a lot of in this video is the like sleet stuff falling. You'll hear it hitting it's like hitting the leaves and stuff. So
yeah, which also
and
leads to the
this
fact
is
that
where
it's a noisy environment.
This is where he brought up the
as you
brightness,
pointed out
by
too.
the way.
Okay.
Which you could tell he brought up the brightness.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever gone
A bit
on
of
any kind of
contrast.
like even small, like with friends, ghost hunt or to a haunted location where you guys are kind of goofing around or whatever, and you're all being goofy, right? And you're saying things, you know,
Until you get scared.
even though you're out there specifically for that, you don't really believe that you're going to capture something on video or you're going to hear it. And that's what I feel like is these guys have been out here before. This isn't the first time.
Yeah.
And so this particular, the one guy's just like, they're not even supposed to be real, you know. And I think it hits the other dude like, no, dude, you don't understand. It's here. And I don't know, man. It just, it actually feels pretty genuine to me.
Yeah. And I would say the same thing, especially if, you know, they were able to catch it on drone footage. Drones aren't the quietest thing in the world, but up at that height, there's a good likelihood that you wouldn't be able to hear.
Yeah, it's above the
propellers
tree line.
keeping it up
Pretty
there.
high up there.
Yeah. And if there really is two of them, maybe that's why they're kind of just comfortable with it. There's like, yeah, whatever. There's something up in the air. We're here.
Or maybe they're not comfortable with it, but what are they going to do? It's a drone.
Yeah. Well, smack it out of the air if it gets too low.
But it's up there pretty high, and it's, you know, they probably don't hear much. It's and we're talking about out in the woods. They're walking. They're going to hear their footfalls. The leaves are. It's going to block out a lot of the sound, I would think.
And like you've said, you know, tiny things in the woods make a ton of noise.
A lot of noise.
So a person walking through the woods is going to make a huge amount of noise unless you're actively, like these guys are actively trying not to make a bunch of noise.
There's not just that.
Or one of the two is trying not to. The other guy's talking.
We can see that they're zoomed in right now. They're not super close. And if you go back to the original video and watch it, you'll hear that sleet hitting the ground is going to mask a lot of them approaching.
True.
It just, because you hear it through the whole video. It's like when they're out there, you hear the of it like hitting the ground. That was a horrible sound effect, but you get the idea. Yeah.
I want to play this for Connie before we release this episode, and I want to get her opinions on this, and maybe we'll put that in an update type video.
You could go to the website and just go to like have her watch the full one where the guy talks. He talks over a lot. That's
what I want to show. I want to show her the full thing, not
he
just
tells
the highlights.
What's going on out there, what they're doing, and everything. And to me, that just really
put it in
helps.
surround sound.
He almost puts it on their channel as almost like a little mini documentary. It's like over. I want to say it's like 10 to 15 minutes long total. And I think our clip was like just over 6 minutes.
It's like a little over 6.
So you can see I cut again. They're driving. There's a scene of them driving into the park with the park sign and him talking about what they're doing out there. And then there's some just footage of them walking down some paths and stuff that I cut out because they're not necessary for what we're doing. But again, he leaves them in because it's like, this is what we were doing that day. And you can kind of follow their day, which is really cool.
And it also is what I would say a rare occurrence where they were hoping to film this.
Right.
And then they did.
Well, Patterson Gimlin.
Yeah.
You know, they went out there. I want to point something out about Patterson Gimlin. People are like, oh, they went out there to film it and then they actually captured it. Why is that? They went to an area where there had been reported sightings in the last few weeks. Yes, they were out there specifically to see it. But here's something you guys need to understand. They weren't out there for a day. They were out there for I guess they
like 9 days or something?
They planned like 2 weeks or something out there. They were out there for a while. And the fact is, in a Patterson Gimlin film, even though they were out there for it, they weren't expecting it. So when they come around the bend and this thing stands up, you know, his horse bucks. He almost gets thrown from the horse. He basically falls off of it. They grab the camera and run as fast. One of them chases it.
I'll cut it in up here too.
I mean, one of them
talking about it.
One of them runs over and he's yelling at him to, like, I think they said Bob Gimlin like grabs his rifle and he points at it, but he's like, he didn't want to shoot. He just was like, we don't know. I've got my rifle trained on it because, you know, if it goes after Bob, you know, like I'm gonna have to shoot, you know. And they actually try to follow it. I think Bob Gimlin has said, like, I said let's follow it, but like Robert was like terrified, and they track it later, but he was scared, man. So again, they were out there. Yes, they wanted to see Bigfoot, but even they didn't expect to see it. And I think Paul Friedman, right? Same deal. He'd been out there several times. He'd been tracking. Years he'd been looking for them and plaster casts and everything else. He didn't expect to see it the day he saw it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think when you're going,
he was actively talking about. He's like, yeah, occasionally you see, oh, there it is, right there.
It's
like it just shows up.
It's weird to me to think that people think that suggests, oh, they're out there to see it and they see it. Yeah, that makes the most sense. You're in the areas they've been reported. You've been you're doing the things that people have said you need. Like, this is where they go. These are the things they tend to do. You know, why wouldn't that be where you see it? Like,
right?
It just makes sense to me. And we're not talking about the guys from Finding Bigfoot with a whole film crew. We're talking about two guys walking around in the middle of the daytime in woods that are probably noise is already covering what they're doing. And the 4th of July one, it was out there chilling when the guy came, and instantly it's like, you know. So it didn't expect to see him any more than he expected to see it. And so when that happened, it's like tried to hide and maneuver its way out. To me, that's just, I don't know, just adds to it. So
yeah,
it makes sense that you go to the area to see it and see it. It's like, you're not going to see Loch Ness Monster at the pool down the street. You got to go to Loch Ness. And even then, you're probably not going to see the Loch Ness Monster. But
that's a whole other episode.
We'll get into a water creature episode at some point. And our thoughts on some of that, because I have thoughts, and I know you do. So,
I got a bunch.
The first thing I want to say is we really wanted you guys to tell us what you thought of this. Did you enjoy this kind of deep dive? Because I think we're going to do some more of these, because I enjoyed the hell out of it personally.
Yeah.
This to me was it kind of got me back in that field when I was a kid, and I would see these videos and remember, like, oh, this is why I like this stuff so much, you know. Somebody could come out tomorrow and prove that one of these or all of these is fake. I don't think they will.
They've been out as long as they have been already. That, you know, I would hope that especially the one from '96, like if somebody came out and debunked that now, I'd be like, it took you 30 years, but sure, okay.
Also, you guys know Matt and I are good about it here on the show. We put out that one video that everybody thought was real. When everybody found out it was fake, we were some of the first people to say, hey, it's fake. We were online telling other people, like, yeah, hey, unfortunately, this video is fake. We found out.
Even in our own comments, we had to do that. Hell, I even call out our mistakes during the edit of a video I haven't posted yet. Yeah, I will absolutely do that.
So,
I don't like being proven wrong. I'll just say that. But if we're proven wrong, I would rather own it and move forward with it.
You want to know?
Than try to perpetuate that it's not, you know, that it's not fake. You know,
stuff like this, I don't mind if somebody proves it. I don't feel like if somebody proves it fake. I will not watch any of these 4 videos and say 100% I believe them. I would say 85% I believe 3 of them, and maybe 70% believe the other one. Like, that one gives me a lot more pause. But so if you come out and show me how I'm wrong, I'm like, okay, I can push that one aside now and don't have to focus on it anymore.
Yeah,
to me, it's like that's the point I want to know. So one that Matt and he showed a couple weeks ago, we have endlessly talked about this, is that UFO footage. What you guys don't know about that episode is how many times I made Matt replay that video and how much I Ooh,
It was easily 30 times
I was
that he had
tearing
me
it apart.
start it over. And in the edit of that, I did speed some of it up. I cut some of it out
Yeah,
too.
you had to, man. It was way too much.
Had to. It was.
But
I was just like, oh my god, this is.
Basically, I got to a
and-
point where here's what I now know I do believe of that video. At first, I know it was taken from at least two different angles, if not two different cameras. In other words, it had to have been two different cameras, because if they would have tried to set that up and reenact it twice the exact same, it wouldn't have worked. I know that if you were digitally editing that, you were a freaking genius, because when it goes behind the tree, you didn't have to do that because no one would have noticed, but you did. You could see it behind the leaves as it went. I pulled that video apart. Do I say it's a UFO? I have no idea or a flying saucer. I have no idea what it is.
It fits the description of a UFO.
It is weird.
And unidentified. We don't know what it is. Flying. It's in the air. An object. It's something.
So what I'm saying is, if somebody could come
whatever
on the show,
it is, it qualifies.
If Matt or somebody could come on the show tomorrow and say, "Hey, man, we think this is what people now think it is," I want that answer, even if it's not a UFO. Would it be cooler if it was a UFO? Sure. But if you tell me, again, that turns out
that leads to us with our self-described skeptical believers standpoint that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We want all this stuff to be true, but there's been so many things where people have outright hoaxed things or used AI or CGI or whatever to make a very convincing video, or even a not very convincing video, but they've still tried to, sell it off as being real. But it just gets hard to wade through some of that. And we want this stuff to be as real as it can be, even if it's, later found to be a hoax. We'll call it out, like we've said.
Yeah.
That to me is that I want that to be our integrity and our credibility as people who talk about this. I want that.
I guess we're researchers now, man. I never really thought of myself that way.
Yeah.
We
kinda.
We dive into the research as
Are
much
we experts?
as we can. No, we're not experts.
No.
Not even close.
Shit, we couldn't even tell that a goblin wasn't a skunk at one point in time. So,
but we found out. Hey, thanks to Connie,
we found out.
Our expert.
And my actual expert.
She is
wife,
good. She looks at everything with such a skeptical eye that you don't even know she's doing it. And so, I like that, because our brains are turned on to one thing, and we're like,
and she goes, I grew up on a farm and you're an idiot. I'm like, oh yeah, true. Okay.
Yeah, but it's like but lots of people were idiots because they all thought it. That's why we found the video to begin with. So, and
it made total sense why the guy was running away. When she goes, yeah, that's skunk.
Totally, yeah,
fair enough. Yeah.
But it's cool, and we love that. That's just it. That's what I like. It's like, oh my god, thank you. Now I see it. I see it. It makes perfect sense now. And that's what I want. The problem is all the things that we can't find a rational explanation for. That's the ones. So if we can get rid of the ones we can, then we're left with, what about these? And that's really cool to me. I want to say a couple things before we close this episode out. And I say this, and it's supposed to happen, so it probably will happen. We are going to have a couple of guests on the show on an upcoming episode. It'll be next month that the episode goes out.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. We're going to have a couple comedians on the show, and you're going to be like, why comedians? Well, you'll know. We're going to have Scott and Ace from Behind the Funny on with us. So every October they shift gears. They do a show called Behind the Funny, which is, you sit down with different comedians and stuff, and they talk about comedy. It's a great show. You should check it out. It's there's audio you can get on Spotify or things. Well, they also they do put up all the video on YouTube, so you can watch them.
Yeah, I believe they're still doing video versions of it as well. Yeah.
So you may, like I say, you may be asking yourself why comedians, like I said, every October they shift gears. And for the month of October,
plus they're good friends of ours.
They're great.
We go way back,
and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
So for the month of October, they do Scott-tober. And basically what it is one of the guys on the show gets freaked out pretty easy. And so since they do that on their show, we thought it would be fun to have them come on our show. And we are going to look for clips Matt and I are going to look for some of this creepiest.
We're going to try to find something that's going to creep Scott out, and hopefully make him believe in the paranormal even more than he does. And that was kind of the whole point of starting Scottober, was to scare Scott. But they have straight up brought haunted items into the studio.
That's awesome.
And had him hold them without him realizing what they were.
Oh, they're so mean.
Dude, there's a, go back and listen in their archives on it. But I want to say it was Cody and Satori from GhostHunters brought in an object and had him hold it and just start asking him questions like, what do you think this is? And, as he's talking about it, he's like, I don't know, it's metal. I don't really know, where was this found? And then slowly over time, it's revealed that it was actually a toe tag that was found in a cemetery.
You're horrible.
And he's just like, oh God,
we're not going to do anything like that to you, Scott.
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
But area, or we would.
I mean, they have him like sitting next to haunted dolls and all kinds of stuff, and it's entertaining. But yeah, we love Scott and Ace, and
yeah, we've had some times with them on
great guys,
past, and it's a lot of fun. So we really wanted to bring them on, and they graciously agreed. So that'll be coming out in October. A couple other real quick things. First of all, we did check, and as of this recording, Bob
Gimlin is alive.
So we checked for you guys. So just know we as of right now, we were still wrong back in the day.
And I'll go ahead and shout it out. We actually lost somebody in the paranormal research realm. We recently lost Dr. Jeffrey Meldrum. He is basically one of the reasons that we know a lot about, anthropology and like the gate that we talk about all the time, like how far apart footsteps are. And I think he had something to do even with like talking about the dermal ridges and everything, of like how that's something that's kind of hard to fake and everything. But he was, a leading expert in that field of kind of helping figure out kind of like what we end up talking about, of like all the things that kind of prove and or disprove various Sasquatch, things like that. So
I saw his name. I saw we put it up on our group on Facebook, but I'd seen a lot of
it's been posted by a lot of cryptid groups. So I just wanted to call that out. So
that's it's a bummer. But yeah, so but speaking of which, we do have if you want to put up our Facebook, we do have that. We have Facebook, so you guys can go over and check it out, and we post some funny stuff up there sometimes and stuff. So Matt's a lot more active, but I do try to participate from time to time, but Matt's way more active on that than I am. You can go over there and follow us on those, and you would have known this because Matt put it up the other day when it happened. So I did have one other thing I wanted to talk about, but I kind of forget what it was. Last week's episode was actually just one we pulled from the archives because we were not available. So you're going to notice some of the video quality might have been a little rough, and a few other things.
Different people in the videos as well.
KC was with us on that. If you were earlier watchers of this, KC used to be a member of the show. We don't. He's pretty busy. We don't get to see him as much anymore. But that was just a thing we did. That was a spooky, scary time thing where we did. We talked about the Mr. Popper, which is the story that influenced the story of Poltergeist. They're drastically different, but it did influence the writing of it, and it's a fun little episode. It's just us telling the story behind Mr. Popper. There's photos and stuff, but there's no video. So, but if you're wondering why that was, when we first started the show out, we did some things a little differently, and then we sort of morphed it, and we're going to be morphing it again. So, just sort of. I think the new we're going to continue. We'll still do videos. We'll still watch videos, and we're going to deep dive a lot more. We have some really interesting stuff coming up. We really just want to just delve into a few crazy like investigations or myths or legends and stuff. It's kind of the stuff we're really into. So
odd occurrences that have happened over time. And side note, Jay doesn't even know this yet. Connie and I were watching a video right before we got on to record, and there's a story that I've heard pop up a few times. I kind of want to bring it to the show. It's more of a mystery than anything, and I'll just say fairy coffins is all I'll say. Nice. So we'll cover that one.
Hey man, this is just kind of creepy, and I've told you one of the creepiest videos I think I've ever watched on the show is when I brought there's no supernatural at all. It's just the one where the cops show up for the
Oh,
wellness
God,
check, and that video freaks me out every time. So,
Yeah.
Guys, hope you enjoyed this. Please give us your thoughts in the comments below, because we really want to hear your thoughts on any of these.
Down there.
If you think they're real, if you don't, what you noticed, what you thought of them, let us know. If you have any additional information, let us know. If you have any clips or anything you would like us to talk about, let us know. We love the feedback. We love that stuff. We really appreciate each and every one of you. Please, if you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out. What else? Do I have anything else? That's all I got.
Just one other thing. Keep it creepy.
This is kind of creepy. Goosebumps rising up my spine.